this show, we told you that CBS's Jason La Canfora reported big changes coming at 49er headquarters, or could be coming. Sources telling him that Trent Baalke is in jeopardy of losing his job, that Chip Kelly is in trouble, and here's the big one, that Denise and John York will take a more, or could take a more hands-on approach. He's getting that information from other NFL owners. Jeremy, what would it mean for John York, Dr. York, to be back in charge of this franchise?
Well, how did he do last time? Let's start there. He came in after Eddie DeBartolo and took a proud franchise and ran them into the dirt. Frankly, I mean, they were terrible when he was at the helm, and I was part of it, and I got to suffer through a lot of those years. And the guy don't know football. Plain frankly, he don't know football. He's a decent businessman running shopping centers and doing what he does, but that's what he needs to stick to. He needs to get a business person in there, or a football person in there to run the football operations. He can run the business part of it. I hope his active role is, figuring out sponsorship names for the stadium after Levi's done or something. I mean, that needs to be his more active role, not running that football team.
You have actually, in your playing days, had face-to-face conversation with Dr. York regarding where the future of this organization should go, and that did not go well.
I mean, he came to me and point blank asked me, he said, can we go to lunch and have a conversation about what's going on with this franchise? And I said, sure. So I sat down with him. I was pretty blunt with him. He asked me to come with him because everybody kept saying I would tell him the truth, so I told him the truth. I told him he was the problem with that organization, and he didn't like my answer one bit. But then we went through piece by piece with all the hires and the fires and the people he brought in to run that team and the coaching staff that he chose to come run it, and it was a disaster. I mean, every decision he made as the owner of that team was a disaster for the football team. They did get the new stadium built after they brought Harbaugh and let some other people start running the football team. But right now, this football team's an absolute disaster again. They need somebody else, not John York.
So if you were the general manager, what would you do?
I would start trying to build through the draft. I mean, you got to go back right now and start, okay, who's my backup quarterback on this roster? Because I don't have a starting quarterback on this roster. What young talent do we have on this team that we can start to develop for next year? Because we're not playing for anything now. Let's get rid of these veterans that aren't cutting in. Let's go start playing young people across the board and see what we have to build on next year, because we're going to have to tear this thing down completely, because cupboards are bare there.
You know what I like about you, Jeremy? You don't really
sugarcoat it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take a commercial break. Be back with more in the fifth quarter after